Hey, it's Todd, and I am playing through the initial level 1 adventure of Space Marine Adventures. So this is the second time I've played it. I played once just to kind of get a sense of the rules, and I'm trying it again, making sure I have it right, and so I can use it sort of to demonstrate how to play. Hopefully I'm getting most of it right. I've got the rulebook handy in case I've got it wrong. I don't really know too much about Warhammer 40k lore, but I chose Brother Frostclaw, Brother Infernus, Sergeant Cassius, and Brother Gabriel as my troop. And I already went and picked their items for them. If they come into play, I'll explain them then as I read through it. You can see here I have the board. There's a spot here that's a little bit different than the other ones. It's got a special symbol on it. This is where I put this console. And then you can see there are these exits, but 3 of them, here's the one we're coming in, 3 of them are blocked, and I may have to move the dice tower if that ends up being the exit. But essentially we're going to have to come in, access the console, and then we're going to have to, I think in this level 1, it's basically, someone's going to have to be there and use their actions to roll dice. They get a 6, they've accessed the console. Once they've accessed the console, these 3 barriers will flip over. One of them will then be open. The other 2 will remain shut. That will show the exit. The Necrons are going to start spawning from those spots there. There's no AI to speak of, but you do get kind of a sort of a zombie game feel, because what happens is when we're going through, who acts when is determined by this deck, and I'll be flipping those over. And there's 2 in each round, which is essentially a round means we've gone through all the cards. There are 2 actions for each of the Marines, and then activations for the Necrons. When the Necrons activate, I'll be picking from this deck, and some of them will be simple activations, some of them will have special effects, but essentially all of them, I'm pretty sure all of them, will have 1 or more numbers that indicate which one of these spawn points we put a Necron on. Now, if a spawn point is empty, you're just going to put a Necron on that spawn point. If that spawn point is occupied, then you do all the surrounding squares, and then it just keeps, going outwards, and they'll keep sort of going out in each direction from the spawn point. So you can get into a situation where you could possibly be overrun fairly quickly. If a Marine, say, is standing there, this spawn point is filled, and I have to put a spawn on him, he takes a wound. That's, at least as far as I've seen, that's the only way that Marines get wounded. You just have to stay away from having a Necron spawn on you. The trick is, though, that each of the Space Marines can only take essentially 1 wound. So you take 1 wound, they're wounded, and you take their card like this, flip it over, wounded. If they take another wound, they're dead. So it's imperative to try to keep the spawn points clear, and if you can't, then try to keep your Marines away from the spawn points. But of course, you have to get here, which is in between 2 spawn points. There's not a whole lot of spaces on the board where you can be out of peril completely. Maybe you're here and you're safe, but then this one starts to fill up, and then the next turn you're in doubt. So we'll see what happens as far as if I can keep the Marines out of trouble. When I played it the first time, I got everybody out. I used a different board configuration. There are several board configurations. Here's one. This is the one I used last time. This one, and they're double-sided, I guess, and they're all different, so yeah. So you can see there's more. And I just picked this one kind of randomly. I don't know if it's easier or not. Obviously, it's all in the game. Each Marine has his own dice, which I'll roll. There are 2 sorts of Necrons in this one. There's what they call the Necron Warriors. You have to roll 3 or higher to destroy them. And the Necron Immortals, which you have to roll 4 or higher. And some of the... well, each of the Space Marines has their own special abilities. Brother Infernus, right there, he has a what does he have? A flame. He has a flamethrower, essentially a flamer, And each time I roll a 6, when he attacks a Necron, every Necron in the adjacent square is also destroyed. So if I can get him in front of a bunch of Necrons, I can basically flame him out. Sergeant Cassius, him over there, he has a chainsword, which is what he's showing right there in his hand. He can add 1 to dice roll made when he's attacking a Necron that's in the square next to him. So if I get him in a close quarters, he can attack and add 1. So that's good. Brother Gabriel, I like his one. I used this one a lot last time. It's called Auspex Scanner. During each of his turns, I can turn over it and read the top card of the Labyrinth deck before putting it back. So basically, and this is similar to some of the powers. I feel like there's some similarities between this and Pandemic in the fact that some powers let you look to see what diseases might be coming up. In the same way, he can look to see what the next spawn point is, essentially, or the next, whatever the special event is going to be. So it can help try to figure out where do we need to clear, because that's going to be the next one. Now, and just to finish it off, Brother Frostclaw, he's got a combat knife. Each of his turns, he can perform 1 free attack action against a Necron that's adjacent to him. So again, another close quarters guy. If I can get him in a situation where maybe he's got a couple of Necrons, he can do some slicey-dicey on them. So what I was going to say is, so Brother Gabriel's power I like a lot because it allows me to see what's coming. The trick is that it's sort of like having a blackjack deck over here. You can't be exactly sure who's going to be going next. This first turn, I have no idea who's going to be going first. It could be me, it could be the Necrons. Obviously, as you get to the end of a round, you're going to have a pretty good sense, because there are going to be very few cards remaining, who has left to go. But still, there's that unknown. So I can prepare, and I can have spent one of his turns looking at his top card, but if I get 3 Necron spawns in a row, I'll go through 3 cards. That first one that's known, the next 2 are unknown. So, you're not totally safe from being bit in the butt, even if you had a chance to look at that first card. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to relate. Oh, so I think I mentioned once I've gone to the console and hopefully activated it, one of these will be an exit. Then I will place this second stairwell, and then the game ends if I can get everybody, or it ends victoriously if I can get everybody to the stairwell. If I ever run out of these, I think they call them labyrinth cards, I lose. Obviously, if all my Space Marines are destroyed, I lose. And they grade your victory. I think they call major, minor. I think it's major if I get everybody out. If some of the Space Marines die, it becomes a minor victory. Then whatever. Hopefully we're gonna triumph again. But let's see how it goes. So let's flip over this first card, and I get blue. I get blue-gray. That is Brother Frostclaw, which is good because he's in front. Oh, so one other thing. On these cards, you have their special abilities. You have this range. This is how far they can shoot. This is how many actions they get. So anything I do, moving a square, trying to do the console, I think using an item or an ability costs an action. So I can do up to 4 things. If there's an enemy 6 away, 6 or less squares away, I can attack them. So there's no enemies on the board yet. I need to get over here. He's got 4, so I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to put him right there. And then he is done, and I'm going to stick these right there. Okay, so the next turn is Sergeant Cassius. He also has 4 actions. Doesn't have as much of a range, though, but I don't want to put him on a spawn point, because if I spawn number 1, then he's going to get damaged, and it's way too early for that, so I'm just going to I'm going to move him right out in front. You can move over your own Marines, but you obviously can't share a square. So I couldn't have him, if he had enough movement to get here, I couldn't stay there. I'd have to either have enough movement, or I'd either stop short here or have enough movement to go 1 further and go there. You also can't do diagonals. But you can shoot diagonals, but you can't move diagonals. And I believe the Necrons that they're spawning, they have to go in cardinal directions as well. They can't diagonally shoot over here. So from here, the Necrons would keep spawning this way. I don't think they can spawn, down the corner. But of course, there's another spawn point down there, so they're probably going to fill that space anyway. Okay, he is done. Wow, I'm front-loading all my guys. Okay, so Brother Infernus's turn. He's only got 3 actions, and again, I could put him on the spawn, but I don't want to, so I'm really just going to move him up 1. And he's done. So I could tell already I'm moving a lot of my guys. That means I'm going to get a lot of Necron actions starting at some point. Okay, starting right now. So there we go. Necron symbol. Go to the Labyrinth card. Flip it over. Necron reinforcements. Strange green lighting crackles and leaps, opening a portal from another part of the labyrinth. A Necron steps through the energy portal, looks around with a shimmer of its glowing eyes, raises its weapon, and begins to stalk towards the Space Marines. Alright, well, they don't actually stalk. But now, the last part of it is I have this, you kind of pick randomly for reinforcement. So there are 2 kinds that I mentioned before, the Warrior and the Immortal, and I'm just going to pick one, and it's going to go on that 5 spot. So, see here, it had the number of the spawn point, so there we go. A Necron Warrior is now at 5. So, it does not stalk, but on the next round, if I get 5 again, or the next time I pull a card, then I'm going to start filling up these, and they're just going to keep filling up, until I can clear that spawn point. So, that is that. Next up, there we go, another Necron card. Let's see what's here. More Necron reinforcements, this time on square 2. So let's draw into the bag. And let's see. Okay, this one's an Immortal who's a little bit tougher. Okay, so they're coming. But luckily for me at this point, they're a little bit far away, so I don't have to worry them right away. And then it's back to Sergeant Cassius. Okay, Sergeant, where are you going? So, Sergeant Cassius has actions, 4 actions, and a range of 4. So he could go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then take that guy out, which I think I like a little bit better, just because I really want to try to get here as fast as possible. But, oh, no, wait a minute. If I do that, then he'll have no actions to actually attack. So maybe I'll have him go 1, 2, and then he's in range. And now I will see if I can get, I need a 4 or better, and I got basically 2 dice to do it. So let's see on the first one. Missed. Hit. Alright, there we go. And this goes back in the bag. So you can't ever run out of Necrons, because I defeated him. It goes back in. Can be drawn out again. But at least I cleared that spawn point out. He's done. Alright. Necrons. They are... Okay. Reanimation protocols. The Necron Overlord extends his mighty will to repair the damage to his servants, making the Necrons fight for him even more fighting for him even more difficult for the Space Marines to defeat. Okay, until the end of the next round, everything is 4. So I'm going to drop that here so I know it's 4. So the end of the next round. So this made things a little bit harder, at least for the normal guys. The Immortals are already at 4, so it doesn't really change their math too much, but it does for the regular warriors. So, okay, a little bit difficult. Oh, and then they spawn on 4. So that's right near the console, so I want to keep that clear, or I want to keep that clear. Now, if I were to get Brother Frostclaw's turn, he could shoot across here. I can make a line from square to square, so he could shoot him. Obviously, I don't know if it's going to be his turn next, but I do have that possibility. Okay, and then we get the Necrons again. This time it is, oh boy, reanimation protocols. Till the end of the next round, the resilience of all immortals is 5. Okay, so, oh actually I see, that first card really only was for warriors. Okay, so it didn't matter. Okay, so now, well, lovely, but at least I'm getting these out of the way. first. So everybody's harder to kill. Oh, and there we go. That one was spawn point 5, so now I have to put more. Oh, actually, I don't have any immortals on the board, except for that one just showed up. So, lovely. And then lovely. Okay. So, sort of, you can see right here in that pandemic-like effect. Keep going, they're going to keep marching along, making things difficult for me. And now they're going to be close to impinging on places that I want to be. I need to get here, he's there. If they get this far, they're going to start closing off access, potentially that way as well. Closing off that door if I need to go out that way, so not what I'm looking for, but we'll see what happens. Let's draw another card. This time I get Brother Gabriel. Let me use his scanner to look and see what this card is. This card is just regular Necron reinforcements at 6. So that's over there in that corner, so that one's okay. And there's really not much I can do about it anyway at this point. They're just too far away. No one's in range. But he is way back in the end there, and he can do 4 things. So 1, 2, 3. So all he can do is march, just get himself out here by that spawn. He's done. Okay. The wolf, Brother Frostclaw. 1, 2. Okay, so he's going to just go ahead and move here now. That's 3. And then I can perform a free attack action against... So I have basically 2 attacks, but I got to get a 4 or better. 3. 4. So just what I needed. Whoops. Alright, so that is good for me. Because now that is clear, and he can then... on his next turns, he can work on trying to get that console open. And what I'm going to want to do is get people who at least can get line of sight on 3 and these 2 spawn points here to keep those clear. Because if these both get filled and he's standing there, either one of those goes, they could both go, but before he gets to go in, he's dead. I do have this Narthecium, which can heal. But it's on Brother Gabriel, and I'm not sure. He has to be right next to him. So it's possible I could try to put Brother Gabriel there, or there, somewhere where he could then do that. But hopefully I can either get lucky and keep those clear, or I can get that console done quickly. Alright, so we got another Necron. This is Necron reinforcements to 6, right? Which is, I knew that already, since Brother Gabriel had looked at it. So let's see who gets over there. Oops, oh yeah, I mixed in some of the harder guys, so I gotta make sure not to pull them out, because I'm not in this. Of course, I get 2 of those in a row. There we go. Okay. Alright, that's done. And there I get Brother Gabriel. So Brother Gabriel, 4 things. 1, 2. See, I'm going to move him here, and then he's got a range of 6. 1, 2. So he's going to try to take this Necron out. He needs a 4, and I don't think he gets anything special. 6. Alright. Good enough. So far we're doing an okay job of keeping our paths clear. Alright. Next is Brother Infernus, who only gets 3 actions and has a short range. So I'm just going to move him all the way up here. There's nobody on the board for him to mess with. He'll be useful, I think, if I know the exit's here and this is filling up, get him close, and he can just keep kind of wheedling the numbers down. But at this stage, he's way too far away from anything to make an impact, and he can't move very fast. He's slow, so he can't really get too far. So not much for him to do yet. And then this one, the final Necron card. Okay, so let's see what we got. Necron reinforcements on 6. Alright, so 6 is starting to explode a little bit. So So let's see what we've got. One there, and one there. Alright. So this is the end of round 1. I'm going to reshuffle these cards. Okay, I'll just cut the deck. Alright, cut it a couple times. Okay, here we go. First up, Cassius. Not great for me because there's nobody here. But I'm going to move him here. Put him in position to, he can shoot here because I can connect these two squares, connect those squares, you shoot there, and then get his +1 for that one. Hopefully that'll help at least keep that side empty. So I think that's an okay. Again, I'm very new at this, so I don't know all the strategies. I'm just sort of thinking it through. Okay, now it is Brother in Furnace. 1, 2, so I'll move him. Let's see, I can move him here. And then again, my understanding is I can connect the squares. So I actually could keep him there, and then he can try to take out that spawn point on 5 with his flamethrower, since 1, 2, 3, he is in range. So here's still more difficult. Since the end of this round, I need 4 instead of 3. If I happen to roll 6, then I could potentially take out, or I would take out, that immortal. So it's a good risk. And I get a 2, so no dice. No dice for Brother in Furnace, but I like his spot. So I think if he can kind of help lock that down, then Gabriel I can try to move, try to do some different things. But let's see. The board may look different by the time I get there. Oh my gosh, I'm all front-loaded again. Maybe I didn't shuffle that way. But I do get Gabriel. So let's see what this first one is. Chronofield. The next Space Marine who has a turn misses their turn. Oh. Alright, so next Space Marine misses their turn. Oh, that hasn't actually happened yet, but it will. Alright, so he goes. He has 4 actions. He's going to go 1, 2. Let me see. Or he could go 1, 2. No, then we have to go. Alright, he's going to go here. I'd actually like to move him up that way to cover the other exit, but I'm going to just use a couple of shots to see if he can clear this out some. So he needs a 4. Doesn't get it. That was on him. I'm going to try to clear out that spawn again. 5, so he gets it. So, alright. Cleared that out. So now, even though there's an Necron here, he's not going to move. And the next one will just go on that spawn. I believe that's how it works. Let me look that up, because the spawn rules are maybe the most... There's not a lot of complications, as you can see from this game, but... Yeah, if the square is empty, place the minion counter on it. Right, so because that's empty, nothing else is going to happen until that square is filled. Alright, perfect. But there's going to be a bunch of Necron turns. And there's the first one. And that's going to be that Chrono, which means that the next Marine is going to lose their turns. Hopefully it won't be Frostclaw, because I want him to start rolling to try to get through that console. Another Necron turn, and see, I have no idea what this one is, because I only was able to look at one of them. Necron reinforcements on number 1. So that's back behind us. And luckily we won't have to go back behind us. I think we have to go through the other stairs. But we know the potential now of getting cut off from one another, separated, if this starts to plug up, and these guys are filling that in. So Probably want to try to keep it clear if I can. And then another spawn. There we go. Necrons again. Invasion beam. The ground shudders. Green lights pulse along the walls as energy builds and the invasion beam is activated. Blinding lights flash and flare and thunder booms along echoing corridors in an eerie storm of light and sound. Multiple Necrons teleport into the action. 5 and 6. Alright. 5 I had cleared up, so... But now trouble's going to start. So there's 5. Now 6. We're going to keep pushing outwards. Okay, let me come on, give me just one of the 2. I should have probably split these out beforehand, but I kind of forgot. Actually, tell you what, let me take those out now. Basically, there are harder levels that have these different Necrons, and I left them by accident in this reinforcement bag, and for some reason, all I'm pulling up now is them. Okay, here we go. There we go. Alright. So, not great. If we were playing Connect 4, I would have lost already. Alright, and now, and I still have this next, my next turn is going to get missed. But the Necrons just keep on coming, so I don't have to worry about that part yet. Alright. Reinforcements at 4. So that is also not good. So we'll see. So here's where, again, I don't know how many of each spawn point are in this pack. I do know that when these end, if I haven't finished, the game's over. I also know that now, if I get 4 again, he gets a wound. And that would not be great for me. So, let's see what I get. And I get another Necron. Let's hope it's not 4. And it's, of course, it is 4. So, Frostclaw is wounded, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip over to wounded. If he gets hit again, he is out. So this would be quite a blow. Now, see, that goes there. Now, I have to check again. If you have placed a minion... No, hold on a minute. If you have placed a minion counter in the square occupied by a Space Marine, no minion counter is placed. Instead, the Necron minion attacks and wounds. Okay. Alright. So I don't think they spread out. I think they just... Luckily, at least the Space Marine stops that. But we got a lot of Necrons over there, and I'm still going to lose a turn with my next guy who goes, who is Brother Infernus, who I would love to use, but I have to, because of this Chronofield card, he loses his turn. Now we get to Gabriel. He's going to look and see what the next wonderful thing is, and that's 2, which is up here, so that's good for us, because it's kind of out of the action. I don't have to worry about that now. I can use all 4 of his actions to just try to whittle this stuff down. So, he's just going to try to take out... So let's just see about taking out that spawn point first. That's 1 first turn of a miss. Second turn is a hit, so... 5's been neutralized. So that's 2 turns, 2 actions. He's going to try to go after the Immortal Man. Gets a 6, so lucky there. That's done. So they're out. I got 1 last turn. I can't target there. 1. Let's see, he has a range of 6, so but I can target back there. So let's see if I can clear it out. And he not able to clear that one out. But that changes the dynamic a little bit. Gets things back into control. Oh, you know, I could have, well... Alright, I didn't do something I might have should have done, which is to put him next to here and then use this Narthecium on Frostclaw. I didn't. Hopefully that does not come to bite me in the butt. Alright, and there's Cassius. He's got a range of 4. 1, 2. Alright, so he's going to try to take out 1, 2, 3, So he can shoot those two without moving. So he's going to try to take out the one on the spawn point first. Misses. That's 2 actions. Third action, finally he gets it. And then, see if I get lucky on that fourth action. Get that guy out of there. Can't do it. Okay, but he got one. Cleared the spawn point, so Frostclaw is safe temporarily. We get another Necron. That's going to be 2. Now, I haven't analyzed the Labyrinth card, so I don't know if it was good to get some of these nasty reanimation protocols and whatnot out of the way now, if that means that I'll have an easier going towards the back of the deck, or whether there's more nastiness. I haven't read through all of them, so I'm kind of hoping, since I feel like I got a little bit of a jammed up on some of those, that it'll come back and help me. But it's time now for Brother Frostclaw to show his worth. Now, his card, which is one that's special to him, is that he can perform 2 free attack actions against adjacent Necrons instead of 1. Oh, because he can. Oh, I see. Because he usually gets 1 free one. He can take 2, but there's nobody adjacent to him, which I'm actually happy for. So he's not going to use that. He's just going to try and, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's a 6 I have to roll. Here's the card with the mission briefing. On a 6. Okay. Say 6 or more, but I haven't seen any pluses to that. Alright, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So good rolls. Well, 2 5s and 2 1s, so sort of extreme, but no 6s, so I'm still out of luck as far as that goes. And the final one, haha, he has a chance to redeem himself. Let's see. 4, no good. 5, that's good. Those are good rolls. Alright, there it is, 6. So 6, we turn these over. Oh, look at that. That is convenient. Alright, so you see we flip these over, and then 3 of them are going to just remain, or 2 of them I should say, are going to remain just zappy fields. Now I just have to get here, or get through here. So I will put this doorway on that side. Now we got to get out of here. So now let me shuffle these up again. So really, I just need to keep a pathway clear. I don't even really care about 1 and 2. Those spawn points, I think if I can keep... Oh, and the other thing is these reanimation protocols. That's where really my bane. That was the end of that round. That was the end of the next round. They are gone. So we're back to normal. So I have this free corridor here that I could use. Obviously I got to worry about spawn point 5 going off. 6 is going to be trouble because it's going to keep sort of spreading out that way. I could maybe try to clear out this corridor. This guy is slow. Gabriel, no, Gabriel's okay. Who is it? Brother Infernus, he's slow. I could maybe move him here if I get lucky, and I could kind of try to keep that angle clear, keep sort of that going. We'll see. A lot of it's going to depend on what the old Labyrinth deck has waiting for me. You can see I'm about halfway through it. So I don't have too much leeway at this point. But let's see what we get first. Okay, so we get a Necron right off the bat. Invasion Beam on 1 and 2. Well, if I had to get Invasion Beamed, those are the best 2 places for it. Neither one can directly threaten me yet. Oops. But still, definitely starting to seal me off a bit more. Constricting the battlefield. Okay. Let's see what's next. Alright. Brother Frostclaw. Alright, so combat knife. So he's got 4 actions. He can perform a freebie. Alright, so excuse me. Okay, so he's gonna move here so that I can get a free attack on that guy. And I only need, well, I need 3. And he gets it. So that's just 1 action because that was a free attack. And then he's going to fire at that Necron, so this will be action 2. If he misses action 3, he's going to try again, which he does. Action 4, like I said, if I'm reading this correctly, he has an angle on that Necron, so he's going to try, and he gets it. So, Brother Frostclaw did a man's work right there, and cleared out a bunch of space for me. Let's see if I can take advantage of it. But first, Necrons. So we get Necron reinforcements to 6. So I cleared out that, no, I'm sorry, I did not clear out that spawn point. So now they're starting to cut off this axis, but I don't really care about that. I don't need to go that way. I really just want to keep this angle clear. Okay, let's see what's next. More Necrons. 5. All right, that's. No, I can't say this. I can't say it's unexpected. Oh, you know, one thing I didn't realize, he's on a spawn point, so shoot. I totally goofed on that one. But it's his turn, so. 1, 2. I'll take, you know what, I'm going to go 3. I'm going to take the action on this one, the free attack. Clear that out. Cool, so that's, he went 1, 2, 3, took the free action, which killed that Necron, and he still has 1 left. He's going to try to kill that one there, and he does. Brother Frostclaw, right now, MVP. No question. He's done. Brother Infernus. Brother Infernus, I don't care really about that. 1, 2. I don't want to put him. Well, I don't really. You know what? It doesn't really even matter. I'm going to put him here, and I'm going to hope that either I don't get a spawn on 5, or I just get 1, because I don't really care if he gets wounded. I just don't want him to die. I only have 1 wounded guy. That's Frostclaw. He can't get hurt for at least a little bit. So try that, see if I can start getting these guys out of here. Speaking of that, it's Cassius. He can go 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's in a good spot. Oh, I get Brother Gabriel. So let's see. Use this at any time. Turn it. Okay. So I'm going to move. Well, let me see. Space, square, adjacent. Okay, so he can't actually. Unfortunately, he's blocking. But I can't heal Frostclaw. But I'm not really worried about that. So what I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3, 4. So ready. So Brother Gabriel's out. He's safe. Here come the Necrons. Necron reinforcements to 3. So I think I may have lucked out, because I didn't get a lot of 3s and 4s. I got lots of 5s and 6s. And now that the 3s and 4s may be popping up, we're done. over there. So they can't hurt us. Sergeant Cassius. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to go over here. Hold it down. I think that's his second most. He is done. What else I left? Green is Infernus. 1, 2, 3. He is out. Necrons. Enforcements to 3. That is fine with me. Let them fill that whole area up. I don't care. I got the one goes there. I can have it. Brother Gabriel. You know, I forgot to check his, but it doesn't really matter. He's already out. He's got long range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But there's nobody even to fire on. So he is basically, I'll just take a look just for kicks. They'll become the 3, which is good for me. And then the last one, we already know. It's going to be 3. I just want to check one thing. Oh, I see. Okay, so I think they do end up spreading out. So he's going to end up spreading out here, because it goes adjacent to each one of those here, here, and then there. But you know what? Something funny's happened. That there's no... So the reinforcement bag is empty. So... And if they say if the reinforcement bag is empty, you just don't do anything. So... I'll just play this out quickly. I don't think there's anything they can do to me now, because I'm right by the exit, and all I need is those guys to go once each, and they'll be in pretty much. 1, 2, 3. Well, I have to move. Anyway, it becomes kind of... Alright, so let's just see real quick. I got Cassius. We'll just go 1, 2, 3. Just go far back. Infernus. So yeah, that's pretty much just that. The Necrons, who can't spawn, but let's see if we get some. I guess if I run out of cards first, so they can't go to 2. There's nothing there. I don't have any reinforcements left. They're full. Another Necron, but I got to do a card. 1, but I have no. They have no reinforcements left. And that is Cassius again, who's already safe. Green, that's Infernus, who's already safe. That's Gabriel, we'll just move 1 back just to make it easier. And then finally, Frostclaw. Marines win! So that's the game. Let me clean it up, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay, so that's Space Marines Adventures. There are 3 levels. That was only the first one, the intro one. And each level has its own cards. So increased challenges. Obviously, things are going to get harder the further you go. But I think that level 1 shows you basically all the mechanics that are in play, more or less, right? So they're going to be harder enemies that are harder to kill. Different spawns. Some things may be giving multiple spawns. But the core gameplay is what you saw in that level. I guess let me give you my pluses and minuses, sort of what I liked about it, what I don't like about it. A lot of these games, I'm a solo player. I'm trying to get my wife into more board games, but this is definitely not a theme that she's interested in. She's certainly not really keen to be a Space Marine. So I look for games that at least have an option to play by myself. And this has that. I like the minis. I think they're really cool. The Necrons are counters. Not as cool, but I get it. There's a lot of them, and there's only 4 or 5 of the Marines. So I think there's 5, as you can see on the cover, and you choose 4 to send in. Another thing is nice, small box, easy to find a spot for. That's also a bonus. I like the pandemic sort of gameplay. I think sometimes we have AI and all these complex mechanical routines you have to go through.
there's maybe a point of diminishing returns. Sometimes you go through all these steps to make the AI do something, and you get to a point where it's sort of you're doing all these steps, but the returns aren't that great. So here they've basically done away with any sort of AI, but the result still gives you a sort of feel that you're looking for, which is that these enemies are coming out of nowhere and they're pressing in around you on all sides, and that you have to keep sort of blowing holes in them to push your way through. So even though there's no AI to speak of, and the routine for the Necrons is very simple, it works. I think it fits in the theme that you're going into, which is these Space Marines invading this tomb and then trying to survive and get out with all these things coming at them. That said, they probably could have added a little more interactivity to the Necrons. I think something that happened at the end of the game that you saw was that the recruitment, their bag of recruits was empty. So I was just flipping Necron cards, and I only ended up with 5 left in the deck before I got everybody finished. So I could have easily lost that game had things gone a little bit differently, just because running out of that labyrinth deck ends the game in a loss. But they could have done something interesting where just something I thought of off the top of my head as maybe a house rule is that if there's nothing left to recruit, then just push all the Necrons out. Have them all kind of spread out one in these in these hallways, sort of away from their wherever their spawns are. So you could kind of still have that pressing in on you feeling, and maybe you open up gaps which could help you. It's just a way to keep the board sort of dynamic, because I could see, such as in the game I just played, I was lucky enough that all the labyrinth cards were spawning things sort of away from me. And it worked out really well for me when I needed to be in one spot. The spawns were kind of over there. And as I blew through them, the spawns were coming kind of behind me, but I didn't really need to worry about that anymore. Kind of luck of the draw. Another game, maybe the exit ends up being in the midst of that spawn, in which case I would have been in real trouble, or something else. So the luck was a factor, but I think running out of recruits kind of made it at the end not quite as challenging, or maybe a little bit anticlimactic than it could have been had there been recruits, or had those recruits been able to move in some way. It could have maybe still engineered some kind of threat to turn it up a notch. Maybe I'll see if down the line, after I've played everything and I'm a master of my domains, that that's something to try. I think you get kind of a lot in the box as far as replayability. There's, I think, 3 or 4 of those maps. Each one's double sided. They're not going to change the game up completely, right? But they are going to give you some different configurations. So just change that makes it a little bit more interesting. You're not playing the exact same map over and over again. And within there, which one of the exits becomes the exit you can use, that it gives you more replayability. You have the big deck of items and powers that your Marines can have. You, at the beginning of the game, which I didn't show in the video, you deal 2 for each of the Marines, and then you choose 1. And some of them are specific to certain Marines. Others of them are general. And since you only get 1, you only get the C2, get 1 for each of the Marines. There's a lot of, obviously, randomness as to what you get. And I'm sure playing later levels, some of the things that I didn't even have to, I had a frag grenade, I didn't need it. I had that healing gun thing that I didn't need. You really didn't need any of their powers in this particular instance. But there's a lot of replayability in that sense too, because you're going to get all kinds of different combinations of Marines and gear and configurations of the map. So there's a lot. You can do. Like I said, I think my real big negative, it's not even really a big negative, is just that maybe it's going to end up being a little bit too much on the simplistic side. I said while I was playing that I can appreciate the kind of pandemicness of it, where in Pandemic, when you're watching the cubes sort of spread around the globe, and that gets you thinking of how you got to catch all these things, you get kind of the similar feeling in this game. Though, again, by luck of the draw in my game, I didn't really need to worry about it, because all the things were spawning at the end in a place I didn't need to be. So I was almost happy to let those 2 spawn points sort of explode, as long as I could keep this other side down. But there might be other games where I really need to get in there and kind of hammer it and keep it down. So, again, the AI is simple, but it does give a kind of challenge, and it's thematic. But maybe if they had that one extra step of something, maybe some of those different, you have all these labyrinth cards, and a lot of them are just spawn 1 here, spawn 1 here, spawn 2 here, make these a little bit harder. Maybe if they had something like, hey, move all these one square towards the nearest Marine, something like that. You know, the Marines are all color coded. They could have even had a little color code and just said maybe some of them have yellow, and so if that card comes up, hey, move them all towards yellow. For some reason, yellow attracts them, or whatever. I think they could have come up with maybe one step that wouldn't have added any complexity really to playing it, but would have added just a little bit more to it. I'm not even really thinking right now. Right now, I'm kind of happy playing this base game because I'm still learning. I'm still figuring it out. Down the line, when I've got it all kind of mastered, I think those little extras are going to be what maybe keeps me playing this versus playing something else. You know, reading places like Board Game Geek, a lot of them are not necessarily writing this game off, but they're pretty much saying that, hey, it's going to be sort of a one and done game that's just a gateway to hopefully get people involved in getting into more advanced Warhammer stuff. I hope that's not the case because I think there's a lot of things they could do. I think this is ripe to have expansions, not just in the places you go, but in those powers. I would love to see an expansion that said, hey, for you kind of more advanced players, here's something that adds extra things that the enemies can do. Or maybe here are some more boss type enemies. You know, I could see something where you just like have a little blister pack with a boss mini and some little cards that you would mix in, and that you could play that with sort of a mini little mission, because I think it could be really easy to make more missions or objectives in these cards. Just all you need is a couple more of those, you know, little squares that you put on top of some other square that says, hey, go here, do that, go here, you know, do this. Maybe have even a couple of them that you have to do in some kind of order. There's a lot they could do. Maybe some new boards with some new sort of backgrounds, because, you know, one thing with all those boards, they have various designs, but you know, as far as the maze kind of quality of it, but they're all the same. And it's not the most amazingly attractive thing. It's just these kind of, you know, greenish, purplish, black kind of corridors. There's a lot they could do. So I hope that they don't just make this a sort of one and done here, play this and then go get Shadespire or something like that, because one, they're different niches, and two, I enjoy this, and I think that it's a good base for doing a lot of things, and certainly for the price. I forget how much I paid, but it wasn't that much at Barnes and Nobles. It's a good deal. So I definitely like it. Try it, play it. I'm looking forward to getting into the other levels. And that's it. If you enjoy videos like these, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It helps me out a lot. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support the show in a different way. Thanks for watching.